What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another West York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the 42 North Brewing Company, and they are out of East Aurora, New York, and this is their Blueberry Gose, and it is a part of their Community Collab series. So this is a Gose that is brewed with blueberries, blackberries, and red raspberries. It comes in at 4.5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is exactly 2 weeks old. So this year I've been talking about being a bit more diverse in the breweries that I feature every Wednesday on West New York Wednesday. And when it comes to 42 North, I've reviewed one beer from them over the past 5 years, actually a little bit over 5 years. 3 months ago, I reviewed their Wallonia Wit, which was a Belgian style of Wit beer. And that is the only beer I've reviewed from 42 North since January of 2019. So 5+ years, one review, totally unacceptable. So we're circling back to 42 North for this one. Now, this is inspired by a local farm called the Blueberry Treehouse Farm. It's in West Falls, New York, which is just down the road from East Aurora. And what's funny is I looked on Instagram and they have a new label that says the Blueberry Treehouse Gose. This one does not, although this was canned on April 16th. It is now April 30th when I'm reviewing this one. So I don't know if they had some old labels or whatever, but this is a newer I mean, they've released this before, but this is, like a seasonal type of beer. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I got an older label. It doesn't have the cool Blueberry Treehouse Gose label. Kind of bummed. I don't know. Whatever, doesn't matter. Not as long as the beer inside's okay. All right, so despite it being called a Blueberry Gose, it does have 3 different berries. So we're going to give it a pour here, and that looks extremely light. 4.5%, all 3 of those berries. We'll see. Definitely a big head being generated. I'm not even pouring that hard. Do something like that. I'll pour the rest of the goodies in as the head dies down and throw it over here. So it's been a while since I've just had a straight Gose. That's not like super, fruit smoothie, slushy, heavily fruited. Although I'm sure this has a lot of fruit. This is not, I don't think, blended like post-fermentation. It's actually brewed with the fruit. So as you can see, it has this very light kind of almost, it's going to look different on camera. In person, it almost has like a blood orange kind of juice look to it. It definitely has all 3 of those berries, so it's not straight purple like you'd think, or even like a blackish tone, which you get blackberries because the red raspberries are in there. But very murky and turbid, you can't see through it. Almost a 3-finger of this very light pink colored head. Looks more soap sudsy, bigger bubbles, not very compact. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, it looks nice. For kind of what they're going for here, I think this looks really nice. Pour some more in there like that. Steal a little bit off the can and throw this over here. Yeah, that looks beautiful, I think. Let's get a nose. Oh, there's a minerality and salinity kind of the nose, so it has like that slight salty kind of nose. Yeah, you can definitely tell this is like a Gose or just like a base Berliner Weiss. But then on top of that, there is a nice, fresh kind of like mixed berry scent that's more like tart and acidic. It feels like it's going to be more tart and acidic when I actually get down to the, the beer itself. Got to wipe my nose here because it's dripping a little bit. Yeah, it smells like just like freshly under-ripened blueberries, blackberries, and red raspberries. It's a little bit of funkiness from the base kettle sour, the Gose. Maybe a touch of like coriander as well. I do think Goses typically have sea salt and coriander. If this is a proper one, then it should have the coriander, and it does smell like it has coriander for sure. It smells very refreshing. That's I guess the easiest way to sum this one up. It's 4.5%. It doesn't have like big vibrant aromas, but aromatically speaking, it smells pretty damn good. So let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. So the salinity there is there 100%. Wow. Maybe it's just because, it's been a hot minute since I've had a Gose, like a proper Gose. I forget how nice the minerality is in addition to like the salinity and that coriander, like the base. So if you're somebody who likes the Gose style, this is a Gose accentuated by the fruit as opposed to the fruit accentuated by the base beer. Like this is definitely more through and through a true Gose. Body's lower side of medium body, maybe approaching medium. It's nice for 4.5%. It's not thin and watery, but it's not big. It's 4.5%, so you don't expect the world. The mouthfeel, it's super crisp. It's very refreshing. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you'd expect out of the classic style. And then the taste, front to back, it has a salinity. It has a nice firm tartness. This is not super sour. It's not super acidic. It's just very firmly tart front to back. But yeah, that salinity being there. There's a little bit of like coriander hanging around. First thing that hits me fruit-wise is the blueberries. And it's, again, underripened blueberries. There's a little bit of that blackberry. Not really getting the raspberry too much. It seems to be more to the blueberry and blackberry side of things. There's a slight kind of like doughy, bready kind of sensation from the malt. It's not giving me like a pastry-esque vibe because this does not have a ton of sweetness. If anything, this is, again, a very proper Gose. This is tart. It has a salinity. There's a smidge of an acidity. Sorry, I said salinity, right? So tartness, salinity, and then a little bit of an acidic kind of bite. But the fruit is, again, adding more of the fruit flavor as opposed to like an overbearing sweetness. If they were to brew this as a Gose and then mix it post-fermentation with all those berries and make it a heavily fruited Gose, it'd be a lot sweeter because it's, basically fruit puree blended with the base beer. And that's not happening here. This is much more dry on the palate. Yeah, it finishes full on dry. Not much bitterness, but more of a dryness. A very simplistic beer, yet pretty tasty. It's not mind-blowing, but it's also pretty damn good. And I could throw back a lot of these in the summertime. It's 4.5%. And unlike a lot of like sour beers or Goses, Berliner Weisses, kettle sours, sometimes they're just too sour, too acidic. This does not have that issue. I think the salinity combined with a little bit of that coriander and the berries, it stops it from being, way too sour. And also it stops it from being too sweet, which is a problem with a lot of sours nowadays, which is wild when you think about it. 4.5%, you can't taste it. Really just nicely well done. It is a well done beer. I enjoy it. So Blueberry Gose, and you might also see, again, the cans, I'll say Blueberry Treehouse Gose. I don't know, again, what the difference being, but this one just showed up. I picked this one up at Premier Gourmet, Amherst, New York. The beer manager, Ethan, I was like, hey, what's showing up from the Western New York area? I want to grab a couple beers so I have stuff for Western New York Wednesday. And he showed me this and a couple others, and this had just shown up. He was actually just putting it in the cooler. So I don't know what the difference is with the labels, but I like the labels. I just like the blue and gold, obviously a Sabres fan here in Buffalo. But yeah, I think this is going to get appropriate rating of straight 4 out of 5. That's what I'm going to give this beer, a 4 out of 5. I think that's a good rating. I think, again, if you're somebody who likes, base Goses and Berliner Weisses without all the bells and whistles, this is approachable to you. If you're somebody who loves, like, again, fruit smoothie / slushy sours, this might not be your jam just because the fruit character isn't super sweet. It's not super intense. It's more, like I said, it accentuates the base beer. It's more subtle than anything in the taste, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad beer at all because it's very drinkable, super crushable, great warm weather beer. So 4 out of 5 for Blueberry Gose or Blueberry Treehouse Gose, depending on, I guess, the label. Price point availability, I think I paid like $4 for that can. So I want to say that 4-packs are probably between like $14 to $16, depending on where you buy them. I did check their website to see if they still had any, to see what it was at the website. They didn't have any, so I don't know what it is right from the brewery itself. But $14 to $16 kind of going rate with a Gose with all these different berries, because fruit's not cheap and they're probably brewing it with quite a bit to get a color like that. And availability is 42 North. Again, you can buy stuff at their brewery. They get in and around Western New York. I don't know how far outside of Western New York they get, but go to their website. They might have a beer finder. They might not. I think they're opening up a second location in downtown Buffalo, or it might already be open. I'll have to check it out at some point, because East Aurora is like a good 45 minute drive. So I don't get out there that much, although I have to. I got to go hang out with my buddy Green Sombrero this summer, go to go to Aurora Brew Works, and then check out maybe 42 North and maybe record some stuff. We'll see. But anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. If not, what's your favorite just like straight on Gose, or maybe even like flavored Gose, fruited Gose? This is, I think, What I like about this beer is it reminds me of the Goses that I started drinking a good, 10 in the mid 2010s when they started getting a little bit more popular, kettle sours, right? It was Goses and Berliner Weisses. I really like that salinity that the Gose brings to the table, a little bit of that coriander. It's something different. And even when you don't have fruit in it, it still gives it an added layer of complexity that you don't get a lot with certain sours. And I like it. I'd prefer Gose over Berliner Weiss personally, but that's just me. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. Check back next Wednesday for another installment of West York Wednesday. I got a couple beers. We're gonna go back to Big Dish because they released a sour, but not next week. Next week we have a cool fruited IPA from Ellicottville. I think I'm gonna be reviewing that one. Sounds kind of interesting, so we're gonna give it a go. Anyway, appreciate it. Till the next one. Cheers.